That's right. Greetings, fellow Mocha Joe doppelgangers. Tiki here,
And Blue Dragon 5.
and we're back with another Curb Your Enthusiasm recap podcast. It's the final season of Curb. It's one of our favorite comedies. We know this is kind of shooting outside of the realm of our usual audience, so this is kind of a vanity project for Dragon and I to be covering this in the first place. But here we are, Dragon. What did you think of this episode? It's season 12, episode 2, The Lawn Jockey.
Yeah, I thought this was this is interesting. I think I'm having a bit of a clearer picture as to where this last season's going after seeing this episode, and it is rather interesting. It's it looks like it's going to be good, and I still don't know all the twists and turns that are along the way, but it does seem we are doing something different in this last season, which I think might set it apart from the rest of the series.
Yeah, I definitely think this episode had its solid moments for sure. And I agree
Mm.
with you that it's definitely going in an interesting direction where it's almost kind of like the opposite of what I was predicting with like all the good stuff happening to Larry. It's like bad stuff is happening to Larry, but because of it, he's kind of got the opportunity to be a good person on the other end. That's kind of the thesis I'm seeing right now. But this episode, I definitely thought, as far as just the sheer laughs per minute ratio, it was a little bit lighter than last week, but still
Oh,
good.
sure,
Still
yeah,
good.
yeah.
But yeah, it is kind of more of a move the plot episode, if you will. But I thought it was solid. The title lawn jockey of it all, definitely the highlight of the episode, to be sure. All right. Well, do you want to just dive right into it, Dragon?
Yeah, so I think the thing to address up front is, I think maybe barring like some finales, if you want to count those, because usually, again, kind of season two on, really season three onward, the curb plots ultimately build to a payoff with the last episode. So I don't know if you want to necessarily count those, like if you have like a penultimate episode, then the ultimate episode. But really, to my recollection, this is like the first direct follow up that we've had in Curb, which is kind of big. Like a direct, usually again, it's not like, well, this is the next day. Like we don't usually do that on Curb, like ever.
I mean, it's not necessarily like sitcom logic where it like goes back to the status quo, but they're like because I'm watching through season 6 now. I'm almost done with it. I've only got a couple more episodes, and I got to tell you, man, season 6, it's the comedy is definitely, I feel like, a lot more broad in a good way, and also I feel like the plots are a lot looser, where like things can go a lot more wild without the ramifications of the long-term serialized story. So I don't know. I do feel like as we get into the final season, and obviously it does seem like we're doing the full serialization this time around. I'm excited, but I'm also I'm also cautious about it at the same time.
Yeah, I mean that's what I'm saying. Like in Curb, there's been like, okay, so take season six for example. Okay, we have a big status quo shift that basically defines the whole season. We're okay. Larry David has essentially adopted a black family from Katrina,
Mhm.
essentially. And okay, so they're not going to be gone by the next episode. So the fact is, they're going to be lingering around. We're going to add some characters, and we're going to do all that stuff. So in that sense, it is a continuing narrative. But like the house burns down at the end of episode one,
Mhm.
and we're not like necessarily like they're not staying in a hotel or anything like the episode after. It's like, okay, like probably a month or so has gone by and they're in a new place. So that's what I'm saying. Like we've kind of
Yeah,
jumped in
exactly.
different points in time.
That's a good example for sure.
So I mean, Curb does that. So like for again, one of my favorite seasons of Curb, season three. Season three essentially is like, okay, we're building to the restaurant opening. So we have episodes that are about the preparations for this, but again, they're not like, again, like it takes a long time to open a restaurant, get everything
Honestly,
ready. So we're
even the
checking
Mocha
at
Joe
different points.
season is kind of like that.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. We check in at different
Mhm.
points of development into the overarching plot, but never have we had, okay, Larry David gets arrested and this is like the day after. Like this is, very again, something really unique that this season has going for it that makes me, I'm not saying Curb is necessarily something you can predict, but it's like a thing of like, man, it's a real treat. Like you really don't know what's coming next, and there's kind of an element
Not
of
to mention
finality there.
this episode does pretty much end on like a pretty clear cut cliffhanger of like
Yeah.
where we're gonna go at least for the next couple episodes.
So we have a nice opening here. So just again, what I really love the tone that this episode sets for me. It kind of like the picture that this paints for the season is that we are closing the loop and we are homaging kind of the greatest hits of Curb without just like like literally. I mean, with the exception of Mocha Joe, but we'll get there. We're not, we're not like directly like saying, "Oh, you remember when that happened?" But it's like, hey, these are like we're kind of doing things that were like in the genesis of Curb ever since the beginning, and we're kind of referencing
We're not
them.
really playing the hits, we're riffing on the hits.
Yeah, it's basically stuff that's in the DNA of Curb. Like for example, as we'll get into later, like Larry David versus the sales force, the salespeople. That's something that's in episode 2 of Curb Your Enthusiasm, period. So it's like interestingly, episode 2 of the last season, we have Larry David versus salespeople. So like the themes of Curb are being homaged in like a closing of the loop sort of way. It would seem.
You know what it's like, Dragon?
What is it like, Tiki?
It's like poetry. It rhymes.
Indeed, it does. So Larry David is making friends on the inside of the holding cell. So he's making friends with Emmett.
I love how fucking genuinely nice this guy is. Dragon, I have a good analogy for this guy.
What is your analogy?
This guy is like real life Toe Mater. Not Larry the Cable Guy, but the character Toe Mater.
Yeah, no, I see it.
Yeah. I mean, he's just like, one has to wonder with a guy this genuinely nice how he even ended up in jail. It must have been some unfortunate mishap, like we see at the end of the episode.
He might just be kind of cursed,
Right, exactly.
So I love Larry David's having this genuine like conversation with the guy over like he basically tells him, I'm no doctor, but I think you have a lactose allergy or lactose intolerance. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's just great. So he and Emmett kind of strike up this nice exchange, and again, two guys from two completely different walks of life.
The exchange honestly kind of reminds me a little bit because now that I have seen pretty much the whole development of how their friendship got off the ground in season 6, it almost has some shades of how Larry and Leon. How Larry and Leon became friends, where it's just kind of like the appeal of the friendship is the cultural differences.
Yeah. Again, that's kind of the charm of Larry David, where if you weren't mixing it up with people, he would be like a wonderful ambassador of sorts,
Totally.
Take anyone from any walk of life, have Larry David there, and he would find like kind of a common gripe or like just a common just an exchange of just like really mundane pleasantries, but usually just kind of like an observational sense.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Anyway, so he strikes up a little conversation with Emmett there, which is going to pay off after this brief encounter. And I love that. It's the fact that Larry David's like exchanging numbers with the guy, exchanging information with the guy instead of like brushing him off or giving him like some sort of like, oh, I don't have my phone on me. I'm just going to move on. It's like, hey, take his number.
That almost feels like some solid character growth on Larry. Like honestly, where I'm at in season 6, I don't think season 6 Larry would have given him the time of day.
But still, I think that's like why Larry David's an interesting character right there. The fact that if he just strikes up like a genuine moment, this guy doesn't like annoy him to death. He's like, yeah, sure, give him a number. I don't care.
Well, I mean, like in season 6 when he goes to the play with the random electrician or whoever he is, like that's a great example.
No, you're right. Yeah, sure. Okay, so but as like honestly, if you ever look at,
I would love to go with you, Larry.
Think about this. Okay, I'm going to throw this at you. Okay, think about this. Larry David, post Leon, is much more sociable.
Sure, totally.
I would like to think Leon brought that out in Larry David. I would like to think that because again, it's a friendship.
I mean, watching season 6, it's pretty clear that Leon and Larry are very much like they're bringing out pretty much the best in each other, almost.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah.
Plus, I mean, the fact that there's like Leon just sponges off of Larry, so they're very hip. That's like the running gag,
But I'm saying that, Larry does kind of like introduce Leon to like culture and like kind of like stuff in the high life that Leon would just not be aware of at all. So
exactly,
there's kind of a give and take to the relationship there.
All right. So anyway, so we have Joe D'Angelo, Larry David's attorney. So
his name is Joe.
Yeah, I know, which is perfect. So Anyway, so Larry David's lawyer, Jeff basically being a good manager, which we do highlight in this episode. And Jeff goes down there in
I
person.
like that is a running theme. That is a running theme through the season, and I'm glad we're sticking with it.
And honestly, again, Tiki, this is them going back to Book of Genesis, where from the the
Mhm.
pilot movie, well, not movie, but like the pilot special, it was more like a one-off, like hour special for Curve. That was the pilot essentially. The going back even back to the pilot, Jeff Green, good manager and good friend of Larry David. He will do anything to make sure his client is well represented, and he would go all the way down there. But again, you kind of get away from Jeff is his manager, not just his friend. We're like, he would take care of him like this.
Sure.
All right. So the gag here being we brought back the exact same actor who played Mocha Joe.
Slapped on a Ned Flanders mustache.
Exactly, which I wonder if that mustache and the fact that he's an attorney and kind of with the hairstyle, I like to think it might just be purely coincidental, given the huge Seinfeld component of the plot of this season. I think it's a nod to Jackie Giles.
Okay, I'm not I haven't watched every episode of Seinfeld, so I'm not super well versed in it.
Okay, all you need. Jackie Giles is played by Phil Morris, and he essentially is like a parody of Johnny Cochran. Every time Kramer needed a lawyer, he would have try to do like a class action lawsuit, suing the tobacco company or doing like a McDonald's coffee scam and everything.
Oh my god!
He would go to this guy, and in the finale of Seinfeld, Kramer yet again called Jackie Giles to be their lawyer.
Okay,
He flew all the way down there to help him out.
Okay.
So I'm just saying
he does have a mustache.
He's a mustache that's very similar to
okay.
Which is why I kind of called to mind the fact he's a lawyer and everything. Obviously, it doesn't look like he's gonna be sticking around, so just be like we need to make sure this guy isn't verbatim like Mocha Joe.
Sure.
He has a mustache. That's what makes him different.
I will say it's been a couple of years since I watched the Mocha Joe season, so I had to refresh myself on what Mocha Joe looked like, and the mustache does throw me off.
Yeah, but I love that.
But having said that, having rewatched the Mocha Joe stuff, and Dragon, I rewatched most of that season, by the way. Today.
It's pretty great, right?
Yeah. Having rewatched most of the Mocha Joe stuff, it's his mannerisms, right? That's more of the thing that's uncanny.
Yeah. When he goes off on coffee.
Right. Oh my god, we'll get there.
Anyway, so we have this lawyer who basically very much resembles and reminds Larry David of his mortal enemy, Mocha Joe, with a mustache, though.
I love that's canon in the series, that Mocha Joe is Larry David's greatest nemesis.
I mean, essentially, yes. I don't think Larry David's ever really had a nemesis aside from Mocha Joe. Mocha Joe's literally the villain of Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Well, I mean, I would say Lin-Manuel Miranda is
You're right, he's up there.
And
honestly, to a smaller degree, Michael J. Fox, depending on who you ask. Anyway, so I love that Joe D'Angelo here, actually a good lawyer, is giving him really good advice. I have you released an ROR and just going to plead out and send you home.
Mm-hmm.
Good lawyer. So Larry David, we see is being lauded by the people of Atlanta, including Auntie Ray.
Totally fallen into a social justice campaign completely unintentionally.
So this is hysterical. Just the little satire going on here, where it's basically okay, Larry David is a social crusader, and everyone's lauding him, is literally almost like Christ with the comparisons by the media. And again, it's over something so silly and mundane and most ridiculous law you've ever heard. But again, we're playing it like this is a huge movement and everything, and it's kind of a commentary maybe on
I mean, the news is literally going to cite both Jesus and Rosa Parks.
Yes. over just giving someone water. So this is just hysterical. It's the fact, I don't know if it's just coming down there are ridiculous laws out there. More so just the fact no matter how ridiculous something is, everyone has an opinion and wants to get their airtime in on it. Bruce Springsteen, commenting on it.
Mm-hmm.
Larry David's, he's a real hero. It's a brave thing that he did. All right, so let's see. So Larry David's being lauded by the public, the whole food and drink vote, giving them food and drink to voters law thing. Jeff and Susie are in Atlanta. They rented an Airbnb, a rather nice Airbnb with one major exception. So it's a nice place, but Tiki, what is the one major issue with this otherwise decently rented Airbnb?
Well, you see, Dragon, it's a lawn jockey. Would
Well,
you
yeah,
like
what's
to
wrong?
explain
I've
to the
seen lawn
folks
jockeys before, Tiki. What's wrong with this lawn jockey?
this particular lawn jockey, Dragon?
Yeah,
Let's just say it's rather racially charged. Let's just put it that way.
is it now?
It's rather racially charged.
Hmm.
It's rather like you've got a tiny little black man, like as your little butler winging you.
Not just the tiny little black man, Tiki. It's much more worse than that. Even in the design of this thing, I love that in the design of this thing
In the
before.
design of it, it is very much kind of like a mammy type of face. Yes.
I'm just saying, well, yes, I'm saying literally, it's a black, it's literally it's in blackface. As in, when they made this thing, they painted with something that's going to withstand the hot temperatures, mind you. Essentially,
exactly.
they painted over a white lawn jockey purely. That makes it even more insulting. They had to go out of their way to design this thing. When you really think about it, it's not even like okay, it's a metal statue that's like bronze or something, so it would look black. No, this is like literally they went out of their ways.
Right.
If we're gonna have a lawn jockey, do you even know what a lawn jockey like?
I've
Really
never
is?
in my life heard of one before this episode.
That's the thing. I've seen lawn jockeys before.
Oh, really?
No idea,
Okay. Well, you're more of an East Coast guy, so
yeah. I've seen lawn jockeys. Mind you, I have not seen any racially charged lawn jockeys. At least
that's good, Dragon. That's good to know.
At least to my knowledge. I mean, that's what I'm saying. If anything, I might have seen one. It's more like the metal, but it's not like painted. It's not like actual. Anyway. However, now it does make you think, wait a minute, were there any lawns that had black lawn jockeys? Might have actually told me something about those people.
Man.
It makes you think.
Yeah, definitely not a California thing. I can tell you that much.
I always remember this very a deeply obscure pool.
California, we have like lawn flamingos and lawn gnomes, but definitely not lawn jockeys.
Okay, you ready for a super deep lawn jockey pool?
Dragon, I was born ready for this. Yes.
Okay, I want you to get ready for this. I've always remembered this scene, but I was doing my rewatch, my re-binge on Monk a while back. And because the movie came out, I rewatched the entire series, which now oddly is both on Amazon and is on Netflix now. So I don't know how that works, but it's everywhere.
Okay.
And Peacock. So it's on 3. You can find.
I feel like that's happening more and more with streaming services now. I feel like the wealth is kind of being shared around a little bit more.
I mean, with Peacock, it makes sense because they have like the last movie on there, so that makes sense. Anyway, the point being, we have like Monk on whatever platform you choose to binge it.
I do love how Netflix is making a big point that they're going to take the first Dune off of Netflix pretty much exactly as Dune Part 2 is coming out.
Yeah, that does.
Like they're actually making like an event out of that.
Yeah. Anywho, point being, there's an episode of Monk where he needs to recreate kind of like help him figure out a crime scene. He basically he's surrounded by all these like fountains and stuff and like like lawn ornaments. And one of them he uses as the shooter. He uses the lawn jockey because he doesn't have to. He basically just grabs the little ring and drags it, drags into a shooter position. Yeah. Anyway. Okay. So, anyway, they're at the Airbnb. There's a black lawn jockey. And
sometimes with Herb, there's no easy way to say these scenarios. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Again, everyone's offended. I love how there's just the acknowledgement of like like Jeff had no idea until they got there. It's like it was just with the house. We didn't buy it. It just came with the house that they happened to be renting. Because essentially, Airbnb sometimes the way they work is basically a person will like rent out their house and they'll basically call it an Airbnb, which essentially is what happened here.
Dragon, I gotta tell you, Airbnb is something that I don't think I will ever actually cross that. It sketches me out too much.
I mean, the Blockbuster Airbnb, would you stay there?
I mean, if it was like a hyper-themed Airbnb.
Well, that's the idea. It's basically it's a Blockbuster that is an Airbnb.
I probably would stay there, yes.
That's what I'm saying. That's like the one exception, though, right? Like,
but like just somebody's house, like somebody's average-ass house, like, no thank you. There's too many sketchy red flags in that scenario.
I think I told you this once, okay? If I'm right, and I'm pretty sure I am on this, Oh, it was at the Monster Mania, the horror convention.
Uh-huh.
Every year there's this. They give out these flyers and a little booth for the Buffalo Bill House from Silence of the Lambs.
Oh
And
no.
if memory serves, I mean,
Oh
it's
no, is that
right.
an Airbnb you can stay at?
Well, you can stay at it. So in a
Oh,
sense,
holy
it is
shit.
basically you can rent out like for events and stuff. You can rent out the Buffalo Bill House. So you can stay there presumably with that. So you
And it's
can.
got the pit, right? It's got to
Yeah,
have the pit.
it does have the pit.
Oh man.
I don't know if you can actually go down the pit, but the
Oh
pit is
man,
there. I
that's
would hope
fucking
not.
wild.
So that's the thing. You can actually, so you can kind of
This is kind of like a new wave of like themed spaces, right? Like themed entertainment, like
yeah.
super immersive. Like, oh man, this is crazy.
Okay. Anyway, so again, so Susie again doesn't like it. Leon really is really offended by it. He can't do it. I love that Larry David just person's like I can't stay at a house like this. It's too conflicting. I can't stay here with Susie. She's just like she doesn't want to lose security deposit, so she just she doesn't want to mess with the statue or doesn't want to mess with the lawn jockey or anything. So media, meanwhile, they're on Larry David's side about the whole water rebellion thing. Everyone's just like on a side, like Bruce Springsteen and everybody. So it's Susie's birthday, which means no work, like a national holiday. No one can work. Like Jeff can't go anywhere on Susie's birthday. No talking with the Hulu executives over young Larry. Nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So Jeff also, because of this last minute little detour on Susie's birthday, he has to. Well, Jeff, we've established Jeff. He's very non-committal with his marriage to Susie. Frankly, they have a very troubled marriage through Curb. It's like he very often cheats on her, like constantly. It's a whole.
What's funny is that listening to the Curb podcast, it's kind of funny how polar opposite their actual relationship is like.
It's crazy, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, so Jeff, again, being not a great husband, he has no idea. He didn't get her a gift the day before her birthday. It doesn't even really seem like he forgot. He just didn't care. That's what it really reads as.
Right.
It's like she says, tomorrow's it's your birthday. Yes. So Larry David has the perfect solution for what the heck to get her.
And this is like a perfect like Larry solution.
And again, this is something
it's classic.
This is something he would come up with that would make its way into Seinfeld, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to tell him what the plan is?
Oh, you can.
Oh, okay. So basically, Larry suggests get her 2 gifts and give her hide the second gift, give her the first gift, see if she likes it. If it's not enough, if it's not dazzling her, then bring out the second gift. Otherwise, if she is content with the first gift, then return the second. You save your money.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think? Pretty solid advice.
I got to tell you, Dragon, I have a social phobia about like just returning stuff in general.
Really?
Yeah, I don't like doing it.
Well, if you keep the tags on, it's fine.
No, I know it's weird. I have weird social anxiety, so it's like I don't know. I would not sign off on this, but know, it is what it is.
Sure. Right. Oh, by the way,
more so just because the whole situation kind of makes me uncomfortable.
Well, yeah, you'd be melting when they try to.
Oh, you know me. Yeah.
You'd be in a field position, just like that guy's just saying, "Oh, really? But you're not a customer." And you're just like, "Oh, make it stop!
Exactly.
Bring out the happy snacks."
Yep.
Where's Auntie Ray's ribs?
Oh my God. We'll get there.
All right, so you want to talk about the shoehorn factoid?
I mean, I'm not gonna lie; it was one of the gags in the episode that kind of fell flat for me a little bit.
Yeah, that's fair. The thing with Curb is a lot of the stuff is improvised, so I do have to wonder if maybe the shoehorn thing is like an improvised. That thing is a lot of it really is just like they're giving out like, okay, here's the beats that need to happen in the scene, and just play around with it. And even if they break up during this, like they're allowed to laugh, which is such a rarity. Like Larry David can laugh during a scene, and they'll keep it in.
Sure.
That's the thing. Like Curb is so fascinating; it does not operate like a sitcom at all, in that sense.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Larry's okay. Well, they're all Larry, Leon, and Jeff. They're all fed up with the lawn jack, so they're gonna move it. And in doing so, like someone screws up. Presumably Leon here. Like he's like they're not holding up their end, and literally the lawn jockey falls and it breaks. And Susie catches this, and she is not happy.
Yep, the head just breaks clear off. I mean,
Head
it's
in the
literally
arm.
beheaded.
See, I think in hindsight they probably should have tried gluing it if they were really smart. But
You got to break out a dolly, man.
what?
A dolly.
Oh, right, the train they carry it. Yeah,
Yeah.
but they don't have a.
That's what you need.
The people that live there don't have a dolly though.
Oh, I know.
Yeah,
I'm just saying that's what you need for the situation.
well, you're right about that. Yeah. Okay, so let's see. So we have Larry David versus salespeople again, circling back to the beginnings of Curb. Literally, episode 2 of Curb Your Enthusiasm. He does this thing where he's going shopping with Mary Steenburgen and her mother, and he ends up returning like the shirt, and he gets into it with the sales guy.
Oh God.
All right, let's see. So they're in this store full of full of expensive, kind of gaudy things that Susie Essman constantly wears. So pretty much this store, I love that this store does look like everything in the store is like something Susie might have in her
It is. You would think that the whole set is pretty much designed to be like essentially like her own personal fashion heaven. Yeah.
I love that plays into the gag of like, what do you get someone when you imagine they already have all of this already?
Right. Exactly.
It's a good dilemma. It's a clever little dilemma. So Larry has to use the bathroom, but hasn't bought anything yet. And really, Jeff's the one who's going to be buying stuff. They're just browsing. So they have this really prissy salesman. Really, this guy's taking his job way too seriously. He shows up. He very I will say, very fashionable. I will give him that. He looks at this. He's very well dressed.
The yellow. You approve of the orange turtleneck?
Well, it was kind of yellowish, wasn't it? Or is it orange?
It's like a shade of orange.
I can't remember what color. I remember it was like an orange or yellow, but okay. Well, whatever. It's a nice shade, whatever it is. But I'm more so like, honestly, it goes well with the jacket. Yeah, like orange and purple. Those kind of go well together. Anywho, yeah. So the Percy salesman here, he makes a big stink about Larry David having to make a big stink.
Oh God.
Essentially. So essentially, he makes a big stink about him not being a customer and everything. Again, he's party to the customer though, and he does close the sale for this guy. The salesman didn't do any of the legwork here. Okay,
this is true. This is true. Yeah,
this is where we get into the gray area of Larry David here. We're like, I mean, look, he did really close the sale.
I gotta tell you, frankly, I am on Larry's side with this.
I mean, he was browsing. We know what he was there to do. I mean, look, they were. Let's see, he kind of gave up. Like, they acknowledge they did their browsing by realizing we can't tell what Susie would want here. This is kind of a bust. I mean, so they were potential customers. They would have paid had they found something. All right. So also, I love this. This delighted me. I love the soap move that Larry David does in the bathroom. After he uses the bathroom, he's a little self-conscious, so he basically he wafts the
right.
Just great. And with the sales guys like getting in his face about it, and he says like, how much would you have paid before that bathroom break? 500. God. Anyway, so Jeff comes in. Okay, guys, what'd you find? Says, we found it's Larry David complete BS. Here's lines.
Literally throwing a dart at the wall at that point.
That purse.
But Dragon, because this store is designed to literally have everything in the style of Susie.
Works.
Yeah.
Can't throw a rock, you can't miss.
And I gotta say that purse does look just like her style, man. It really does.
And it does. All right, so Larry David is trying to find the black lawn jockey. And how does that go for him, Tiki?
Oh my God. Okay, so we have the centerpiece of the episode, I would say, right?
Yes, we do.
Okay, so
yet again, another salesperson moment here.
So this very polite, very well-meaning African-American salesman comes up, and like very enthusiastically, oh, can I help you find anything?
Yes.
He's all smiles when he walks up. I like that. You know what I mean?
There's not sugarcoating it, but he's saying it as nicely as matter of factly as he can. Do you have any? They're all the same ethnicity. Do you have any darker ones? Any black? And it's not what you think. It's a long story. Yeah, about 400 years long. Starts in Nigeria. It's a line I'm sure brings the house. That's a pretty solid.
Right.
I really just honestly, my one regret with the I just wish Larry actually did give him the full story, because I feel like early Curb Larry actually would have
Well,
given
it's
him.
one of those things where the full story would have probably just made it worse,
I know it
honestly.
would have made it worse, but just the fact
Yeah.
that it sounds like, early Curb, he would have frantically spelled out, he would have listed out the whole story like mid argument.
It's not mine. It's part of an Airbnb. We were trying to move it. We didn't want it in front. You think we want it in front of our house? No. But then we drop it.
But you had one. Like, no. It's again, like I said, it's a long story.
Right.
Anyway, so so he looks at this one like, you know what, this one's actually good. Do you have any? I love these as ass kicks. It's such a. Do you have any? Do you sell?
Okay, as far as like the Larry David scorecard, this is definitely Larry's bad, right?
Yeah,
Because you are literally specifically asking to blackface this painting directly to this black man.
Yep. However, then you get into the social thing of, well, it's not a person, though. It's horrible, and it is for the purposes of replicating a horribly offensive thing already. So the damage has been done. It was probably
Right.
blackfaced in the first place.
Oh man.
It would have been it would have been horrible taste, and I'm glad they didn't make the joke. It would have been really. It would have been funny if Larry did this. Ted Danson did blackface.
Oh god.
Because, sad matter of fact, he did once.
Oh, I believe it. I believe it.
To be fair, Whoopi Goldberg was in on it, so that was why it happened. Okay,
That doesn't excuse it.
No, I'm just saying it was like, I forget. I don't know if it was her idea or not, but essentially that's why. Why on earth would Ted Danson be in blackface? That was why.
All right.
Like, I think I don't know if it was like a group thing or not. It was like part of like a joke that just, you can imagine, did not age well.
Yeah, let's leave it at that.
The point being, though, again, they didn't. Thank goodness they didn't reference that. But if Larry David wanted to throw Ted Danson under the bus, okay. All right, let's see. So anyway, by the way, the lawn jockey bears a. I love there's a recognition. Larry David's recognizing people left and right here. It's Mocha Joe, and there's who this statue reminds
That's kind of
him
the theme of the episode. You're right.
Yep. All right. Let's see. So, anyway, so they return. Susie loves the sunglasses. Yep. They mask the they use they. Oh, this is great. Actually, we should call this out. So with the season, the way it's going, we paid off the hair dye.
Yeah, I'm glad we did, because I got to tell you, that was one of the things in the first episode. I had no idea where they were going with it.
I just thought it was like a one-off thing, but then he brought it up again in this episode. Okay, like digging, but now I see. Oh my god, it was for a purpose. They were setting up the hair dye. That's great. It's a dual joke too. It's like one for the blackface, the initial payoff, but also Giuliani.
Yep.
Which is even funnier because Giuliani actually appeared in an episode of Seinfeld.
Oh, I believe it. I totally believe that.
But again, then a much more flattering sense way back. Now,
Dragon, I mean, keep in mind, like, I'm old enough to remember when Giuliani was literally, like, America's hero for 9/11.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Like, Giuliani...
I've seen the rise and fall of that man.
Kids, believe it or not, Giuliani used to be pretty cool. I mean, seriously, he was.
No, I know, it's weird. It's weird. Yeah,
he was mayor, and he appeared on Seinfeld, and he rallied everyone during 9/11. It's like, yeah, they could go with Giuliani, and now it's like, oh no, Giuliani, no.
Yeah, definitely not.
And so we paid off the infamous Giuliani hair dye when he saw it running down this kind of this older, chubbier looking. Lawn jockey, and I love that when you see it run down, like, I realized, like, oh, when I saw it on Jeff's, like, oh, the reference to Giuliani, and I saw it, like, oh my god, it looks like Giuliani.
Mm-hmm.
They modeled that thing to look like Giuliani. Great. Okay, let's see. So, anyway, so he and Jeff go to return the purse. And just the salesman is just not having it.
He's just not pleased whatsoever to see Larry back in the store.
And this is the scene that would have Tiki in the field position.
Oh yeah, absolutely, no question.
All right, look, if I bought something, would it shut you up? Would it make you happy? He says, like, yes. Well, okay, what can I buy? He gives him this Southern gentleman's jacket.
I'm not gonna lie, it looks like a very spiffy jacket, Dragon. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I mean, do you think it brings out his eyes? You think it looks nice on him?
I do, actually. I do.
Would you pay $650 for it?
Absolutely fucking not.
Uh, by the way, we should shout out Yes Anime Fans comment.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. I haven't had my eyes on the chat in a while, but yeah, he
That's only
says
one
I
comment,
had
so
discussion, but I have fun. I hope that you are having a fun time talking about the episode. We are Code Geass, and we acknowledged up front, and we will continue to acknowledge up front that covering the last season of Curb Your Enthusiasm, very much a vanity project for Dragon and I. We don't really expect a lot of viewership out of this. We're just having fun. That's exactly what we're here to do.
yeah.
All right. Anyways.
Okay. So, also, I love that in setting up the hair dye thing too is the fact that we acknowledge like the weather. So again, to set up why it's melting off the
Which
the thing.
Dragon,
So
Georgia? I've not been. Well, I've technically been to the Atlanta airport. That's about it. But Georgia, very close to Florida, and I can tell you, man, there are days in Florida where it's just you walk outside at 7 a.m. and your face is just instantly pelted with sweat. It's like someone threw a fucking water balloon of sweat right in your face right as you walk outside.
this is gonna be you want to hear something really corny?
Okay.
You remember Florida?
Yes,
Right?
I remember Florida.
Okay.
Yeah.
What if she had a friend named Georgia?
Oh my god. Oh god.
My name's Florida. This is my friend
This is
Georgia.
my good friend Georgia. All right.
Okay, just wanted to bring that up. So, okay, so this is this is great. Okay, this is a callback to one of the best episodes of Curb Your Enthusiasm. Actually, like legitimately, it's a direct callback to it.
Okay.
Because they definitely wanted this. This is Larry David's like top 10 episodes. He definitely wanted to get this in there. So when Jeff and Larry come back right before all the sweat and everything starts, and the whole they get caught essentially. This is a reference to one of the most famous Susie scenes in all of Curb Your Enthusiasm from an episode called The Doll, which is priceless. It's a great episode, I believe, from season 2. Now, The Doll, it's season 2 or 3, I think it's 2. The doll essentially, Larry and Jeff tried to replace a broken thing that happens to be a doll. Essentially, I won't say how it got broken or what happens to the doll, but essentially they tried to replace something broken as well. And Susie catches them, and they play the same exact music cue, and it's Larry and Jeff like across from her, very similarly. And you hear the old Western music, and she's just yelling at him and cursing at him, and she ain't having it. So it's like direct reference to the dog.
The old Western music, yeah.
Exactly, it was one of the best music cues in all of Curb when that happened. So that's definitely something they wanted to get in there for the last hurrah.
For sure.
Okay, so the point being, they gotta replace the launch. I don't know what Susie's problem is. Like, just actually buy some paint and fix it. They're not going to be there like tomorrow, so just But that's Susie for you. It's like there was a good faith attempt at replacing this thing,
I mean, to be fair, Dragon, Florida heat. I'm honestly not sure if even real paint would sustain itself. I'm really not sure how that works.
Well, they only need to have it dry and pass. As long as it's not hair dye, it's going to sweat off. Apparently.
Fair enough.
All right. So, okay. Also, Larry David, while he was out with Jeff, they stopped by to see the lawyer. Auntie Ray begs Larry to fight in court to get the law changed. He just wants to plea out and go home, and Larry David fires his attorney.
Yeah, and I love how it's nothing that the attorney did. It's more, he does.
He offered him coffee. That's all he did. Offered him coffee.
He goes into a big monologue over coffee. You want some coffee, Larry? Seriously, try a sip of coffee, Larry. How do you feel about coffee?
And just Larry David just tells him I'm sorry. Just you remind me of someone I detest. And that's it. This fires the most ridiculous reason for just telling him that.
Mm-hmm.
And so Larry David's without an attorney. Anyway, so to save the whole lawn jockey affair,
they got to go into the deep south, Dragon. I love this idea. I love this idea that they got to go where there aren't any Airbnbs, essentially.
Yes. So they go door to door, basically offering people offering to buy people's lawn jockeys. They're racially insensitive lawn jockeys, and there's just a lot of doors slammed in the face again and again. Then we pay off Emmett. Larry David has his number. Says, wait a minute. So he calls Emmett, and
I love how Emmett is just so tickled pink to hear from him, and he's turned his entire life around because of the dairy thing.
Yep,
it's so
anything
nice,
I can do,
right? Isn't it nice?
Presumably, he gives him that lawn jockey for free. By the way, that seems to be. And then Larry's this is a very nice gesture on Larry's part. Gives him a $650 jacket. It's like, hey, here you go. Take, To be fair, Larry David has Seinfeld money, so I think it's kind of the running gag that curves. Like, even if Larry David, like, he does end up paying a lot of money for like all his fancy things, like his house, he buys a new house and everything. So, well, he does have Seinfeld money rolling in like daily, so he's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
Not enough to be a billionaire, but just enough to like live comfortably in the grandest sense. All right. So anyway, Emmett gets the jacket, which is nice. And what do you think? Who Tiki? Who wore it better?
Okay, I'm not gonna lie. I think Larry did wear it better.
Okay.
I feel like it fits Larry's more old school sensibilities. If that makes sense.
I would agree with you, honestly. I think you're right.
Yeah.
But still, really nice.
Like, honestly, like, if you look at just the direct result of this episode, the cops picked this guy out specifically because the jacket does not look like it looks like it belongs to him.
Okay, so let's talk about that. So poor Emmett.
It is bullshit. It is a bullshit cop thing to do, but I'm just saying, there is precedent for the jacket not looking like it belongs to him.
Do you think at all, just given the black lawn jacket, do you think at all we're doing like maybe this is a nod to, like, I believe, wasn't it a black cop that stopped him because of the jacket?
No, I don't think so.
I thought it was. I could be okay. Maybe I'm wrong. Either way,
I'll look into it.
Well, either way, the point being is this guy is stopped for the dumbest of reasons. He left a tag on a jacket. They had no legal right to actually detain this guy, even under the assumption that it might have been stolen. I mean, I don't know. This feels very much like just the guy left a tag. Now it's gonna make me even paranoid. Recently I wore a jacket I got for Christmas. I wore a jacket I got for Christmas, and I realized I had the tag on, so I went inside and cut the tag off. But still, just made me wonder. Oh God, if I just walked out with that tag on, what would have happened to me?
Makes you rethink your entire life.
Kind of does.
Okay, yeah, you're right. It is a black cop.
So I gotta wonder, do you think maybe in part, just given the whole lawn jacket, we are saying
it is a little racially charged, yeah. And the funny thing is like this dude, he seems like a nice enough guy, right?
Yeah.
But we don't know.
We don't know. We met him.
I mean, he does own a black lawn jockey, so it's like
we met him in a jail cell, and he stole that lawn jockey. You remember?
Right.
Now here's the thing. Okay, I do have a genuine criticism with the episode with that, though. I think it was a mistake to throw in that joke that it was the last thing he stole, and he stole it from a church.
Oh, okay. Well, because the way I read it is that I read that when we get to the payoff that's about to come, not only is it like they're triggered by the racial stuff, but it's specifically their lawn jockey.
Well, that's the thing. That's what doesn't match up, Tiki, right there. Because I thought that too.
Because they're triggered by the racial quality, yes. But then it's also there. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Why on earth would they have a black lawn jockey at their church?
I see exactly what you're saying. Yeah.
Okay, so that's why I think that line confuses that point. That's why they should. If they just took that line, I think the episode would have flowed even better. It's a minor quibble, mind you, but it's a thing of like, if you're really paying attention to that line,
isn't that funny though? That is like literally the biggest thing we can nitpick about this episode.
Yeah, because I mean,
it's like a single line.
And the only reason I drive home that line, is that because when the big payoff's about to happen, I'm on the edge of my seat wondering, okay, are they going to be up? Because we made a big thing that was a church congregation. Is that going to be like, hey, he stole our lawn jockey, or is it going to be it's a black lawn jockey? And I think the better joke is it's a black lawn jockey. We're upset by this. Our new messiah seemingly is.
And I mean, granted, like the reaction that they have to it is very much like it's a black lawn jockey.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying. So that plays a lot better if you just cut that one line.
Yeah, I feel you. I feel you.
Anyway, so Auntie Ray's having like a big old kind of barbecue for the church congregation. Like Larry David is being very much celebrated here. Everything's going great until they bring like a box of ribs into Jeff's car.
Okay, well, one second. Let's pause on the ribs. Let's pause on the ribs. All right.
How dare we pause on the ribs?
Because I just love the notion that Auntie Ray specifically tells the guy to like box up like a whole side dish of ribs for Jeff to take home. Oh, yeah. Dragon, if that is not fucking like the ultimate Southern pleasantry, I do not know what is.
Auntie Ray's delightful, isn't she?
She is. She is.
Oh yeah. I also remember like when she's like, "How dare you put just one rib on that plate?" Oh, great. Okay, so they're all horrified. Like, Larry, no, he's trying to, it's not going to go well. So he's in court, and he's got to enter the plea, and the lawyer's not there, so it's up to Larry David. What's he going to do? And he looks to the side, and there's Auntie Ray and company, and they're looking at him in that judgy way.
This is basically like a classic Larry David, like, it's the social contract. You know what I mean? Yep. He has to do it just by the law of the social contract.
Larry David is a character defined by apologies, so he's got to make it. He's got to do it. So he's got.
It's almost like a Hank Hill quality to Larry David, where he's also got like a very specific set of morals to him. You know what I mean?
Yep. Oh, by the way, real quick before we end out the episode, I don't want to forget about it. I love that when Susie's like, "What the f is this?" And is the pause in which he says, "Hair dye." Just the way he says it, just like, yeah, it's hair dye. Okay. Anyway, so at the end of the episode, Larry David pleads not guilty, which means, oh yeah, we're going the full Seinfeld finale. We're doing the court case.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. Yeah, it's basically doing the Seinfeld finale as a full season arc, which is bold. I gotta say, man, that is a bold way to go.
He's embracing He's embracing his most public failure. I'm
digging it. I'm digging it. I'm here for it.
I want to be also very clear. I like the sign. That was my first introduction.
You know what? I think before the next, because my goal, like between the last episode and this episode, was to catch up on season 6, which I've mostly done. Like I said, I'm on episode 9. But my goal between this episode and the next one, episode 3, I think I'm gonna have to watch the Seinfeld finale.
There you go.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I mentioned this before, way back, I'm sure, when we first talked about Curb or something. The last time we ever talked about Seinfeld, my introduction to Seinfeld actually was the finale.
Oh, really? That's funny.
I was watching. I had it on TBS, and that was my introduction to Seinfeld. I just loved the show. I was like, man, this looks really interesting. And I knew it wasn't like the first episode or anything, but I had no idea. Like, I just thought this, like, okay, well, this week they end where they end up. But it's like, no, that's the series finale. I don't know if it's just because of that fact or not that I've always had, like, I don't mind the finale. I think it's like,
right.
To me, it's like a celebration of the show and all the wacky adventures.
I've never really understood what the big deal is with it, but then again, like I said, I've not watched through all of Seinfeld, so I don't really have that.
The fact to it. You can't say other finales end the same way. That's the interesting thing about that Seinfeld finale. maybe for good reason, depending on who you ask. Maybe just for we can't really measure up to it. I don't know.
Right.
Anyway, so yeah.
Do you think this season is going to end with Larry going to prison? Just straight up prison.
I mean, a part of me has to wonder. Think about it, though. It's the fact that this is such a... Even if he were found guilty, you'd have to imagine, the only thing he'd really be found guilty of is just paying an exuberant fine versus just like a slap on the wrist like he was initially going to get. But it's like, because he didn't hurt anyone.
Well, but didn't they specifically mention like up to a year in prison?
Well, no, I just think...
Like the Mocha Joe lawyer, wasn't that like part of it if he were to try and fight it?
That I missed. Can you look that up real quick? Do you have the thing in front of you or no?
I mean, I don't have the episode in front of me, no.
Okay, as usually I assume sometimes you have the episode in front of me. Anyway,
I did, but I closed it when we finished.
Right.
I'm sorry.
Well, my point is, I remember the everyone saying like that we're going to throw this man in prison, like the potential that may be happening. I didn't remember like
right. Okay, that might be what I was thinking of more. Yeah,
but that was that was the news commenters. I remember him saying you don't want to take the trial. I don't know if he said like that you risk this in trial. That's what I can't remember.
Gotcha.
Anyway, the point being, I can imagine Larry David screwing things up so badly that even just like taking off the judge somehow.
That's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. Yeah.
And we've seen Larry David take off a judge. Remind you, it was a fake TV judge. It was Judge Judy. But
God.
Yeah. By the way, what's happened to Judge Judy, man? Like all the credibility is just gone.
Why? What'd she do?
No, I don't know. It just feels like she's. I don't know. I feel like she's lost like the potency that she once had.
I don't know. I don't. That's I don't.
I don't know. The cases seem just more and more like piddling, and just like she's just cashing in on the name, and it feels more like I don't know.
All right. Well, Judge Judy hot takes here apparently.
Yeah. No, that's the thing. Yeah.
I have no opinion because I don't know. I don't remember the last time I've actually sat down and watched her show.
You've seen plenty of the parody though.
True.
The Amanda Show with Judge. We called her Judge Trudy in that, didn't we?
Yes, Judge Trudy. Yes.
God, how great was that? How great was that bailiff?
Oh God! Oh my God! We need to do an Amanda Show retrospective.
Yeah. Oh, again, the only reality show I ever want to see is a reality show where people are stuck in like random like confined spaces.
You know what? I'm not going to let Dan Schneider have the Amanda Show, man.
No, no, we can't let him win. We're gonna take what we want.
Seriously. I'm pretty dead set about that.
No one will take Tony Pajamas away from me.
Oh man, I mean, for me, the Amanda Show was like peak Nickelodeon comedy. It really was.
It is. It's pretty great.
All right. Anyways, enough random Amanda Show nostalgia. Okay.
Meatloaf cereal. It's the Al Dente brothers. They got donuts.
Oh my God. All right. Okay. All right. Back to Curb. Any final thoughts?
Solid episode 2, but you're right, not quite the splash of episode 1, but we are building to something that usually we've never built to before.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely a couple big standout comedic bits, but like I said, the laugh per minute ratio a little lower than episode 1. Yep. But yeah, I am interested in seeing where this goes, because this definitely feels like the most serialized season of Curb yet. Especially because like the way this episode ends, I can't imagine that we're going to drop this plot line anytime soon.
I don't think so.
All right. Kogia says he loves our tangents. Yeah, I feel like this is literally our 11th year of working together. So 11 years of working together, that'll give you a good banter.
Well, I think for me,
thanks to what?
I think for you and I think it might be 10 years for us, but your channel's been in operation for 11.
No, because last year, as in 2023, was the 10th anniversary of Christmas in July.
All right.
Which you and I did together.
Yes.
The math confused us then, and it
I know.
But that's how the math worked, Dragon. Right. Math is math.
Math is math. Okay.
All right. Okay, so big thanks to Kogias for joining us in the comments. Always appreciate it. And we will be back next week for a pretty good podcast. Pretty good podcast.